Hey, welcome to another amazing episode of Beyond Parody. We have so much to talk about today. We talk about the flooding in Texas, which is tragic. There's so much to go over there. We talk about the Epstein Files. Of course, we talk about Epstein. We have to talk about Epstein. And did you know that AI became sentient this week and it went super racist? Who'd have thought? There you go. All of that and a lot more this week on Beyond Parody. Stay tuned.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another glorious episode of Beyond Parody. I am your host, Dan Dillon. I am back. I was not here last week, and I am joined by Robin, our co-host, and
Hello.
Joel Abbott, the editor-in-chief of Not the Bee, and our tech
hello.
guru, Mr. B.
Happy to be here on this big, beautiful day.
So this week, we have the Epstein Files finally being ignored completely.
Womp womp womp.
Womp womp womp. I mean, that's the big news story, right? We get the I think it's on the, is it 17 weeks ago that we had the binder gate where you had the
It was a dark day. It wasn't a great day.
The conservative influencers. We can throw up a screenshot of that. Maybe we can find that, Mr. B, and throw up a screenshot of the influencers proudly holding their binders for phase one of the Epstein Files that were infamously sitting on Pam Bondi's desk for her to review, right? And turned out to be no files, I guess. It must have been an empty file.
Trapper keeper.
Yeah, an empty trapper keeper. You know what? When that happened, I was a little bit not disappointed, but I did think that we would be eligible to be involved, I think, in that conservative, news influencer group that was invited to DC for that. And we weren't. And I was like, oh, man, we could have done that. And now I'm really glad that we weren't invited.
It could have been you, Dan. It could have been you. One of those binders.
Those guys have been busy this week trying to restore their street cred.
Yeah. Now, according to a lot of them online, they did kind of get ambushed. I don't know if that's true or not. They said they were in a meeting with the president and Pam Bondi for other purposes, and then they were just handed these binders and told to walk outside. So, I mean, I don't know why they'd lie about it other than just to save face, but that does seem... You guys remember that episode of The Office where Michael, they're having an auction because the office gets robbed, and I think it's Bruce Springsteen tickets. He promises like that he has Bruce Springsteen tickets to give out at this auction, and so it's like hype, and he doesn't really have the tickets, and the whole episode is him just like trying to fake some big... This is exactly what this feels like. It feels like Bondi came in and was like, yeah, we have these files. We have so much evidence do we have? And then she got in and looked at what they had and there really wasn't much there. And then she realized, oh, I've overpromised, which is...
But I mean, I know this has been beaten like a dead horse, but like none of it makes any sense, though. It doesn't make any sense why there wouldn't be any documents. Either that or the documents are either so bad or so important to national security that they're just not going to release them. But it's weird that the previous administration wouldn't have said they don't exist, right? They didn't say there's nothing to release. Now they're saying that none of this even exists, yet, you got Ghislaine or however you say her name, Maxwell, in prison for something, right? Like
there's hundreds and hundreds of pieces of documents outlining Epstein and Maxwell's sexual proclivities and their illegal actions when it came to hiring and trafficking young girls. And most of the documents that they have, and Pam Bondi alluded to this, are graphic enough in nature that they can't release them. It's child sexual assault material and things that we don't want to see. And as far as other people being implicated, I was the first one out of the gate when Epstein died under whatever circumstances to say this definitely is a big cover up. This does not pass the sniff test. The more I have looked at it, and people are going to hate this because I know we all want there to be some giant cover up, some deep state. The amount of people at this point that have touched those documents and have touched the Biden DOJ, the Trump DOJ now, it's a nothing burger. And I think that's what I think it was Epstein primarily trafficking young girls to himself. I mean, and maybe to some other people.
Well, but you only think that now because this happened, right? And that's what they want you to think, right?
But who else would be in there? You think Trump's in the Epstein files? The Biden DOJ had him for 4 years.
No, I would agree with the first part of that, where you're saying that a lot of people have touched it. There's a lot of, on one hand, you've had a lot of eyes on it. You'd think that somebody would leak, hey, I actually did originally see something. But in terms of Epstein trafficking girls to himself, we also know that this was a guy that was hobnobbing around. I mean, you have the CEO of Barclays hanging out with Bill Gates and Epstein and former, I forget who it was in Department of Transportation. I forget, but a former cabinet member, and they're all just hanging out in Manhattan at Epstein's house. And Epstein's house was wired with cameras.
He had a lot of influence, and
he had a lot of
he was
influence.
one of these clout chasers.
I think this was not... Certainly, when you look at high-ranking figures, like everything that happened with Prince Andrew and Virginia, how do you say her last name? Guffrays, who, apparently committed suicide earlier this year. Another person in the orbit, the man who trafficked girls, the French modeling agent who trafficked girls to Epstein, also committed suicide in prison. When you look at all these things and you look at the history of it, you go, there's something sordid here. But like you said, Robin, is there a deep state conspiracy that, like the 9/11 truthers or the moon landing truthers? Does it go, is it an endless wormhole, or is the answer that there was a absolutely horrid human trafficker who did have connections to powerful people who are trying to protect themselves, but also a lot of the evidence has just been destroyed or wasn't there? He was careful to cover his tracks.
I don't think that you mentioned Trump right before Joel started talking, and you're mentioning Prince Andrew, and it's like, and then the Bill Gates thing. I don't think that I'm not the type of person who thinks that any person who is associated with Epstein is automatically guilty of bad stuff. I definitely don't think that. So I think that there's this danger of, there are some probably powerful people who don't want any more information about Epstein to come out because they don't want people to know that they were close to him, especially because they were close to him, but then didn't do anything wrong. I think it's a possibility that that's true. The basic idea that nothing happened with all of these people in these houses in New York City and on these islands with all of these cameras around is insane. I think it's insane. And the witnesses and the victims, that their testimony doesn't align with an empty file.
Well, there are some interesting, and I've tried. Conspiracy theories sometimes are very true. We learned this with COVID, right? When we were looking at where COVID came from, and they were saying it came from a bat or whatever. Most of us smart people said, absolutely not. This came from the Wuhan COVID lab, right down the street. So there are sometimes cover-ups that happen in government, 100%. But this one, I agree with you, Dan, that there definitely were people, but Epstein was also a big clout chaser. That was how he made his money. He essentially ran a giant Ponzi scheme where he was bilking billionaires out of investment dollars for crazy projects. And a lot of the witness statements from some of the girls that have been, some were credible, some were not. We saw this with Jean Carroll and Trump. There are crazy people who say crazy things when powerful people are implicated. So where there's smoke, sometimes there's fire, but where there's smoke, sometimes there's not. But
I agree with Seth. Seth made a tweet earlier this week, or I think it was just yesterday, and he basically said the Trump administration, unfortunately, is the one that got into this fiasco. They created the fiasco, and now they're creating a new fiasco by trying to say, well, there was nothing ever going on. But the problem is, when they said that the files were on the desk, and they didn't just say the files are on the desk. If they just said the files are on my desk and I got to review them, then they could come out with this excuse and say, well, I reviewed the files and there's nothing in it that's of any interest or that can be declassified or whatever. But they didn't say that. They said there's crazy stuff in here. They said, like some of it is so, disturbing and all this. So they're insinuating that there's something to this file. Either that was true and this is a lie, that there was nothing, or that was a lie and there really was nothing and they were just hyping it and they thought they were going to find stuff and this is true. So at one point in time, on one end or the other, it was a lie. And that's the thing that is that you have to recognize about this. It can't be telling the truth 17 weeks ago and telling the truth now. I don't trust any government. It doesn't matter whether Donald Trump's the president. It doesn't matter who is. I don't trust the government at all. It just goes back into reinforcing the idea that we can't trust the government, right? Like, I don't believe that there's nothing to see here, move along is everything. Like, I don't believe that. The jail cell video doesn't make any sense. There's a minute missing and it's not even apparently showing his actual cell. It's showing the cells adjacent to his cell. And that's supposed to prove something to me. I don't know what it's supposed to prove. It'd be better to not release that. when you have a minute of footage missing, it's way better to not release it than to release it, right?
I think they totally botched the whole thing. I think they ran on this promise of releasing Epstein information. Trump did. Dan Bongino's talked about it. Cash Patel's talked about it.
They could have just ignored it. They could have just ignored
it. Or not given out binders to influencers and not said, I have the stuff on my desk.
They created their own fiasco.
Like you said, Dan, I remember Cash Patel before he was named as the FBI director. He went on Sean Ryan's show and was being interviewed, and he was talking about, he name dropped Bill Gates and other people saying, oh, you don't think that they're covering this up? And then after he gets in as the FBI director, he's doing official interviews in his official capacity going, no, there's no conspiracy. There's no connection here. And he just committed suicide. And then I think he went on Joe Rogan and said, don't you think that I would say something? So on one hand, I look at a guy like Cash Patel and go, okay, you seem like you're a straight shooter. It seems like if you found something, you would say something. I don't believe that. I mean, the conspiracy theorists are out there probably, they like to say Jeffrey Epstein, it's all Mossad, and Mossad is controlling the FBI. Mossad controls the Babylon Bee. We're paid by Mossad. But there's only so far you can look at it and you can go, yeah, he's probably telling the truth. But the way that they handled it makes it look like they're not telling the truth.
Right.
So at this point, whether they're telling the truth or not is sort of irrelevant to the national conversation. And Trump going out there and saying, oh, are you guys still talking about Epstein? That's not a good look either.
No.
Here's the truth. Here's the truth. Pam Bondi has a list. It's just all of Joe Biden's favorite ice cream flavors.
There you go. Chocolate chip.
Yeah, I think Trump's statement was interesting. And to be honest, I echo a little bit of like, come on, guys, we've got an economy, we've got a right.
But he has to understand that that's not the public sentiment. The Epstein thing is more than just about Epstein. The Epstein thing has become a rallying cry for the average person to feel like some people might finally people of power will actually be held accountable. Like it's more than about the person Jeffrey Epstein. It's more than just the actual crimes that he committed. It's about the concept that the government if you put the right people in place, people even within government can one day be held accountable. That's what the whole storyline is that we voted for that. And now they're like, oh, no, there's nothing to see here, and again, because they lied on one end or the other, we know that they lie about it. They have lied about it. So why don't we think that it's all a lie, right? Because if they're willing to lie about it on one end.
They overhyped it.
No, it's a lie. It was a lie. If they said specific things about stuff that's in there and then there was nothing in there, then it was a lie. It wasn't just overhyping.
Well, she said, I have the Epstein files or something on my desk, and I get what she was saying. She's like, I've got all the evidence, I'm gonna go in and look at it, guys, and I know we're gonna find. They were so sure they were gonna find a smoking gun,
weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah,
WMDs.
weapons of mass destruction.
Exactly.
Yeah, in the Epstein
yes.
information. And it turns out, and at the end of the day, I agree with you, Dan, but there just might not be anybody implicated in this. There might not be.
I don't believe that one.
I think we might just have to wait until we're all before God Almighty. But I've heard enough from the Epstein victims talking about being assaulted over and over again by
Epstein,
multiple people.
100% committed.
Well, not just Epstein, like being passed around to different men on that island, and you hear the stories and you hear the.
And it's not just
victims,
one, and they're not, and they didn't all get into a room and say it all together. These are corroborated to a certain extent amongst several different victims. The idea that there was nothing else going on is insane. 100%. There was evidence that was recovered from his flat in New York City or whatever, with all of the hard drives of evidence that he had, and all the video.
I still want to know about the Clinton painting. That still mystifies me.
That is the weirdest thing. You guys don't know about that. Joel, explain a little bit real quick.
It's criminal if nothing else, that by itself.
You want me to explain the painting?
Yeah, real quick.
The
Don't explain.
We just show the picture of that too.
People don't know what we're talking about. It's just there was a painting of. Go ahead, Joel.
Just Bill Clinton in a dress pointing at the camera,
right? He's smoking
with a cigarette, pointing at the viewer, and he's in a dress with like red heels.
Yeah, he's
hanging in Epstein's New York penthouse.
Yeah, just really weird stuff. And then wasn't there one with like George Bush throwing a paper plane at the Twin Towers, or was I
think that one was made up. I think that one
was that one made up. Okay, that one might have been made. I know the Clinton one's real though. He just had some weird stuff. I mean, you would kind of expect that from a serial trafficker.
Another news story, which is sadly in the cycle right now is the Texas floods and the loss of life, the unbelievable loss of life from these floods. And it's interesting because, as it's moved on from just this one specific Texas flood, there's a lot of floods going on across the entire country right now. I think there was one in Illinois last night that was really big. And it is interesting. Sometimes I guess there's deluge of rain, but I've heard things about like people doing like cloud seeding research and stuff like that. And then you have the people who are 100% convinced that this is all happening because of A, climate change, and B, because we voted in Trump, right? All of this and the response and everything like that is all due to the fact that we cut some funding to the National Weather Service and legitimately kind of dehumanizing the victims of this thing and basically saying, well, you got what you voted for, and making the whole thing political. It's, to a certain extent, I believe that, for instance, the hurricane that hit North Carolina last year, right? Joe Biden couldn't have done anything about a hurricane hitting North Carolina, but he could handle the response to it, right? Like if you're going to criticize a government or an official about it, it's kind of like this is a natural disaster. You criticize the response. The response has been great, in my personal opinion. But to go, people on the left going so far as to actually blame the actual natural disaster event and warnings on some funding cuts that have happened. In fact, some funding cuts that only happened days ago that haven't actually trickled down yet is insane, right? Am I
No, all the offices said they were fully staffed. NOAA, all the NOAA offices in Texas that were involved in the flooding said they were fully staffed, and some had extra staff on hand. So the narrative, I think,
And honestly, like to think, I'm not saying that people at the NOAA and the National Weather Service don't help, because they do for forecasting of all different types of things. But when a flood comes through a camp in the middle of the night, where the amount of warning that you have that this might happen is starting at a time where people are already going to sleep,
right?
You expect, unfortunately, like sometimes really, really unfortunate events unfold. And to blame this on the government in either way, I'm not the type of person that if Joe Biden was in office, I'd be blaming the deaths on Joe Biden. I would not be. But if Joe Biden responded really poorly and being like, well, what was happening under the Biden administration is 5 minutes after this happened, Biden wouldn't even acknowledge it. And he'd say, we're sending out $100 billion to Ukraine. That's what would have happened in a Biden timeline, right? Like that's what would happen.
I think it's good to have accountability, and I think it's always good to do postmortems when there's disasters and discuss what could have been done better. I think there should be a 10-day moratorium on politicizing tragedy. Can we do that? How do we make that happen?
Well, you can't.
When there's a mass shooting, anything. Can we all come together as a country, put our arms around each other?
Robin calls for suppression of free speech. You heard it here first.
Is that what I just did?
So let's watch. You're not going to be able to stop people like this from politicizing it. So we have a clip, a blue-haired breakdown from Libs of TikTok about a TikToker responding about the people who died in the floods. And this is honestly so some of these are really funny because you watch them and they're really funny, but this is just like sad. I want to watch it. I haven't actually seen the whole clip, so we're going to watch it together and I'm going to react to it for the first time, but I know what it's kind of about and where it's going. And it's, again, blaming the victims basically and blaming systemic racism and stuff for problems that are just caused by natural rainfall and other things. Not all. I don't know what's going on with weather manipulation in the government these days, but this one's kind of sad. But the fact that people jump to this is really, it's important for us to recognize the brain virus that's floating around out there, and the way that people respond to things is really, I'm not trying to be too somber about it, but like there's no positives that have come out of a story like this, either this thing actually happening or the way that people are responding to it. And I know because we lived through the North Carolina thing and people lost their lives there. Like I can hold the government responsible for certain things that they're actually responsible for, but to overly politicize that and say something like, well, this is Biden's actual fault that the hurricane hit, it's insane. And I obviously don't agree with it. So I'm going to throw this up there. It's going to take me like 10 minutes to figure out how to share my screen. You can leave that in there, Mr. B. I think that the people at home deserve to know how much I struggle sharing this stuff so that they can sympathize with me.
I don't even learn how to do it, so I appreciate
the software that we're
you do
using. The software we're using is so cumbersome; it's insane for sharing screens. I'm not really sure why. You have to hit like 3 more buttons than you think you need to. Okay, so
is that your favorite song, Dan?
3 more buttons than you think you need to.
Cumbersome.
Oh wait, is that Creed?
No, it's 7 Mary 3.
Yes, Dan.
Oh, hell, brick home. Home.
I know the
It
song.
sounds like Creed when you sing it that way.
Yeah,
That's my Scott Stapp singing cumbersome for
Nickelback.
Nickelback's not quite that bad. I mean, Nickelback's a worse band than Creed, but his voice isn't quite that dramatic.
That should just be inserted randomly. Can you just insert Dan singing randomly into various places of the podcast?
100%.
Oh, hell, brick home. All right. Anyway,
It's a song that was on the radio.
On that note, am I sharing it? No, I'm not. Okay.
Not yet.
I wonder what I would like to know. What percentage of our audience knows 7 Mary 3 and cumbersome? Comment below if you know what we're talking about without looking it up.
I knew the song. I couldn't tell you who sings it.
All right. We're aging ourselves here, so let's watch this video.
I'm going to say it because y'all scary as and I don't give a damn. Them little girls, them people died because of racism, not politics. Boom, I said it. I don't give a And am I sad? No. Nope. Because more YT people will have to DIE in order for is the what? CARE. I said what the I said. I don't give a and minds are here with me. We voted the correct way. You reap what the you sow. Just the night before the flash flood happened, y'all were okay with being stripped away from their families and never seeing them again.
A lot of bleeping in this one.
I gotta stop this one.
That's
I can't listen to this. I can't listen to it.
It's too much.
It's important to listen to, but it's too much. And it's
too much.
It's just insanity. I don't even know that it's even worth responding to because
there's like 30, 40 of these out there.
I know
now.
it's performance theater though, right? Like, I don't know. It's hard to believe that there's anybody that is. I mean, this person can vote, I think, right? Like it matters what she thinks.
Yeah.
But
brainwashed trash.
She doesn't even care about the kids who are lost because they were white. Is that what she's saying? Because more white people need to die in order
because we voted for Donald Trump.
Because we because
I think she's going deeper than that. I think even before, regardless if you voted for Trump or not, it's just about being white.
We lost Joel for a second. Joel, did you see the video? Are you with us?
Yes.
I agree, Dan, that it's definitely this one's a level of mental illness and probably just doing it for shock value. But there were a bunch of like people with jobs, government jobs, people who drive and have
doctors, pediatricians,
a pediatrician who
the infamous pediatrician who says you get what you vote for.
You get what you vote for, and MAGA, what was it, MAGA voters and blah, 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 blah. Like how this is a level of brain rot and immorality that I can't even. It disturbs me that these people exist, I guess I should say.
Yeah, and
I walk among us.
I tweeted about the pediatrician, and I kind of insinuated that she had not applauding, but basically okay with these kids dying too, which is basically what this TikToker that we just watched said, which is like, like they see these as like necessary casualties of war. And the pediatrician put a little disclaimer in her initial tweet about this that said something like kids and people in the LGBTQ community or something like that are exempt, but otherwise, I'm basically happy about this. You get what you pay. You get what you voted for, and it's like, okay, so it's like she thinks the disclaimer makes it okay, but she also is okay with, she wants these adults and other people who voted for Trump to suffer harm and to know pain because of who they voted for. That includes these kids dying, right? Like the pain includes the kids dying. The pain is the pain and suffering of adults. Parents who lost children, and she's happy about their pain. She's happy about that loss. So she tries to say, I'm exempting the kids from it, but she's not. She's not exempting the kids from it. She's saying she's happy that the kids died because the parents experienced pain and loss.
I'm incredibly politically ideological. I am very conservative. And if you look at stuff like in Chicago, I think it was like 88 people got shot over the 4th of July weekend and died.
Every year.
I view that as a direct result of liberal policies and lack. But I would never in a million years say those people got what they deserved, the people who died. I think it's a tragedy. Every human life that's lost is a tragedy. I can decouple my political views on the causal what might trigger an event and the people who are dying, and to not be able to do that, I think, is a mental illness.
You know, in a way, there were the Trantifa guys, 10 people, right? There were 10 people that were arrested for assaulting an ICE facility in Texas this last week.
Yeah, that was crazy.
You know, 2 of them were transgender. And these guys went and they actually took guns and they actually did something about it. And in a way, in a sense, there's a sort of, I'm not saying that those guys are good. I'm not applauding that at all, but they're actually putting their money where their mouth is. They're not being cowards. They're going out there now. They're being neckbeard dummies and terrorists, but they're actually doing something. They believe some political thing here that all these people on the other side of the aisle are Nazis. They need to die, and they're actually doing something about it. I can sort of appreciate that, I guess you could say. But when you have these people like this pediatrician or in that video there or other individuals who are just wishing for death, there's a level of cowardice there where you're saying, okay, in effect, you are celebrating that all these people are dying because they're casualties of war or whatever, but you don't actually want to do anything. You just want to let them suffer and you want to see them suffer. Never mind the facts. There are 3 things about this flood that a lot of people aren't even taking into consideration. First of all, Kerr County or Kerr County, however you say it, in 1987 had a devastating flood where there were 10 campers in that same floodplain, because it is a floodplain, who died. After that, they got new flood warning equipment in 1987. Well, in 2016, local authorities had applied to try to get a grant to replace that equipment. And I don't believe they were successful, or it wasn't entirely replaced because they were saying, hey, this is old now. This was in 2016. So then you also have the failure of the fire chief in neighboring Austin, who either failed or refused to deploy critical assets for hours while the flood waters were rising. And Austin had way more resources than this county did. And people are noting that this guy, he's celebrated as the first Black police chief in Austin. Austin's very woke. He talks about diversity. I don't know how much that plays into this, but he still failed to deploy assets in time. So you look at these things and you go, there are multiple factors, actual factors that we can look at.
And it was a generational flood on top of everything
generational
else.
Flood, everything.
How many feet did it rise in? Like 10 feet in 20 minutes, which is, I don't know how that is, if you can't comprehend, go watch the videos. Someone did a time lapse. They had a camera and you can see the banks breaching, and it is pretty terrifying.
It's crazy. But people, if your first response is to blame a particular politician, like if you're looking at the Afghanistan withdrawal, you could blame Joe Biden because he is the commander in chief. And that is a particular action that is happening that causes the toppling of a country. But we are talking about a natural disaster here. And you're right, Robin, I'm sick of it when I see it on both sides of the aisle, but I definitely see it from a particular, mostly peaceful side of the aisle.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think that we should try and lighten things up a little bit.
Yeah.
No, Epstein, flooding. We've got this is
destruction.
Let's talk about nuclear war.
We're talking about some heavy stuff. There's some positive things happening in the country this week too, right? I mean, you've got great results for the job market, right? Like we're replacing a bunch of illegal immigrants or non-native born, at least, people, their jobs with native born people and getting back into the workforce. And it's been a very, very, very positive thing. You're talking about pressure being put on right now for them to be lowering the interest rates, which could result in a lot of positive, movement for the economy as well. That's a complex issue. Obviously it's not just a black and white thing, but like there's positive things happening in the country right now, but there are some really sad things too. But we can always find a way of finding humor in a lot of it at the Babylon Bee. And at the Babylon Bee, as we told you guys before, we have a little forum where we have our users come and post some headlines and some other things. They don't just do headlines. They have a little social forum on there where they can talk and go back and forth and kind of bicker. That's on the not the B side of things. And we would love to invite all of you watching to join the forum and to pitch your headline ideas to the Babylon Bee, because a lot of really, really, really great headlines get published because of you guys, the audience. And I'm going to show you guys some examples of that right now. We had some funny headlines from the community, our subscriber community, get published just this week. And let's go ahead and throw these up on stage. We'll read through them and react to them. That's the fun thing that I do here is figuring out which reaction should go with each one. So these
I didn't know
headlines,
we had so many now. I love it.
This list of headlines right here is a list of headlines that were actually published over the course of the last week. And so we'll start right here at the top. You want to read them, Robin?
Sure, I'll read these. I love our forum people. These are my peeps. We say that anymore. It's 2025. My kids, no, we don't. All right. From @anaphylaxis, TSA reports you can now keep your shoes on during prostate screening. Nice.
I love the image chosen.
Oh, that's great.
Look at that.
Oh,
He's getting
my
ready.
2 fingers.
There's not any lubrication.
Oh my goodness.
Why is he holding sandpaper?
I don't know. I am so happy about the shoe thing, by the way. I hate walking around barefoot in public. There's nothing grosser to me.
That was being released as like a distraction from the Epstein file fiasco. It's like, oh, we're not getting any Epstein files, but
you guys want to keep your shoes on
here? You guys can keep your shoes on during airport security.
It's the Dr. Evil meme where it's like they're asking questions about Epstein still. You know, let them wear their shoes.
Now let me take on liquids, guys. That's all I ask. I just want to take my freaking hairspray on a plane. Can I do that again? When we can do that, I'll be happy.
I've got some random reactions down here on the bottom. I need to sort these.
Otter.
TSA reports. What should I use for this? Chef.
Okay. All right. Here, the next one down. I think we actually read this.
Diddy.
These are some of these are from last week, but we'll read them anyway. Okay. At Abraham Lincoln, jury invited to next freak off. I think this is in relation to the Diddy trial.
Yes. And that one got published under this headline: Diddy celebrates acquittal with massive freak off. So, we gave the headline forum credit for it, even though it gets a little bit edited before it goes up on the actual website. Yeah.
All right, here's this one.
I need to react to it. Is there Christmas tree, treasure, monkey, otter?
I think the duck. The duck is the best. What is the duck?
The duck.
I like the duck.
Crazy duck.
Duck. Okay. From @caveman, Ketanji Brown Jackson's historic first Supreme Court justice to release dissent exclusively on TikTok. We did publish that one. I helped with that.
That's heresy.
That's
heresy
for sure.
All right.
And it came out as KBJ. I can't say it. Issues savage dissent in form of TikTok dance.
Oh my gosh.
She's the worst, by the way. Oh
my gosh.
She got
slapped this week by Sotomayor, which was funny.
How is she on the Supreme Court? Come on.
Yeah, when you're getting mocked by Sotomayor, oh my goodness, it's
real bad. Yeah,
it's almost like she only got the job for one or two particular reasons.
We're gonna skip over original boss fan.
Yeah, let's do one more of these. I think some of these are like a week old, so we'll read one more, but then we need to get to the newer ones too. Okay. Where are we?
District
talk
court
about
issues.
Oh, this one. Oh, @JBaker. District Court issues nationwide injunction on Supreme Court ruling.
That one's good. And the next one's funny too. Taco Bell authenticity questioned after 0 ICE raids.
From Westland 619.
It does make you think.
Otter for that one. And then this one I'm going to put a American flag.
The Taco Bell one you should use the toilet paper.
What?
The Taco Bell ad, you should use the toilet paper.
Oh, the toilet paper emoji. Okay. All right. These ones were featured this week. From @RuthieJ714, frustrated parents put healthy dinner on floor so toddler will eat it. And there's an adorable picture. Oh, I feel that. We have a dog.
I don't think I don't have the toilet paper one anymore.
Oh, no.
Mr. B. You can arrange these however you want. I got to add that one back. I'm going to put the narwhal on that one.
I like that. All right. From Webiator, to counter Elon, Dems form the Un-American Party. Ooh, I like that.
Aren't they already the Un-American Party?
Aren't they all?
I'm gonna grimace on that one.
All right, here's another one from Westland 619. Sad, husband loses man card after needing more than 2 minutes to pack for family vacation. There you go. That's good. That's a classic.
Treasure.
Treasure.
It looks like luggage to me, so it's going to be treasure.
All right. 2 + 2 is chicken. After blessing new temple, King Solomon blesses new Chick-fil-A. That's great.
Monkey.
Let's do one more. I'm liking this. From I can't read but I'm going to read your handle.
Middle-aged
BFF Machining.
machinist.
Okay, middle-aged machinist. Miracle as church coffee turned into good coffee.
That would be a miracle.
That's a classic. That's a
My
classic.
church had like
Pie.
cans of not energy drinks, but like low calorie with some of the good vitamins and stuff in there, and there were just cans of it, and I've never even seen that before. I was like, did you guys just
All right,
did somebody gift these to the church?
This is the dangerous part. We're gonna do the random headline.
I'm feeling
we're gonna
lucky.
Do it, we're gonna do it 3 times.
Randomly generated headlines from users. All right.
Sometimes these are not good, guys. Sometimes they're
they're really painful.
All
do
right,
better.
Here we go. Geneticists still searching for drag queen gene.
Oh, that's from Dusty Niederlander. Hey, that's a great one.
one.
Geneticists still searching for drag queen gene from Dusty Niederlander. I like that.
Okay. Let's go back and do
Dan hmms on that one. Okay, at Artomold, 84% of Dems secretly want another big GOP bill, so they have a reason to live. That's true. They just want to fight against whatever's happening. That's cute.
It could be.
They're fighting against fascism, Robin.
Fighting. Pray.
So it's really more about having a reason to pretend to not be able to live, kind of,
Right.
You do have to kind of wonder if they got rid of all of the Republicans that they see as evil neo-Nazis, what would they do with their time? I mean, I feel like they just collapsed.
Joel. Utopia.
It'd be a utopia for 3 seconds until they realize they have nothing left to hate.
Till they seize the means of production.
Yeah, they'll be too busy starving.
All right, we're doing one more. I'm feeling lucky. One more.
All right, one more. From Irish Temper Catholic, U.S. Supreme Court approves deportation of migrants to New Jersey. Oh, we've done a few of those, but that's good. I've never been to New Jersey, so I can't say it's bad, but I've heard tale.
You've never been to New Jersey?
I don't think so. Not on purpose, anyway.
Not to my knowledge. I'm kind of from New Jersey a little bit, I guess you would say. I don't know. I have no idea where I'm from. If somebody asks me where I'm from, I don't have a specific answer because I lived in New Jersey. I went to New Jersey for most of my high school, but I don't have a spot that I'm really
And you managed to survive. See, that's part of your personal survival story.
Mm-hmm.
You came out relatively unscathed.
And the skill I learned was learning to sing 7 Mary 3 as Scott Stapp. I have become home. Home.
Yes.
But the interesting thing is, I was from Northern Jersey, and there are a lot of people where I'm from now, which is Florida, from Northern Jersey. Nobody believes me that I'm from there because I don't have any accent whatsoever from New Jersey.
I was going to say, let's hear the accent.
The Jersey accent.
I don't know if I have a good Jersey accent. I have to think
Josie.
about it. But I do end up talking much more with an accent when I go up there. It's like it's almost contagious when you go up there.
Mm-hmm.
That happens in
funny.
Boston a little bit too.
Yeah.
Chowder.
What is that? That's just like Sweet Home Alabama when Reese Witherspoon goes back and slips into her really southern drawl.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All right. I think I had a clip, another blue-haired breakdown for Dan, and I don't think Joel's seen this either, that I think we should watch real quick. I'm going to set it up just briefly. The NEA, which is the National Education Association, is one of the largest teachers unions in the country. 70% of all American teachers belong to the NEA. They had a big conference over the weekend, actually over the 4th of July. And in this conference, they put out the new bylaws. And in the new bylaws, it says NEA declares its support for and participation in the mass democratic movement against Trump's authoritarianism and violation of human rights. So do you think they're a little political, maybe, this organization? Again, this is what all of your teachers are signing, these bylaws. And this is one of their upper gurus who is leading the audience in a chant. And it's one of the most awkward, unhinged.
Is it as bad as the Kamala chant? I love the Kamala chant.
Yeah, honestly, it is. Never lead a group
now
in a
say
chant.
Your name. Is that what it was with Kamala?
Kamala. Yeah. So this is so awkward. And so this is the National Education Association. Listen to this.
All right, here we go.
diversity, equity, and inclusion. Say the words. Say the words. Say them. Say them out loud. Say them again.
It's so awkward.
Look at her. Look at her. Look at her. She's breathing it in.
Yeah,
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Why are they so angry?
say the words. And you hear people, diversity, equity. It's just never lead a chant unless you know how it's going to go. Don't. It's like, was it Tim Waltz's wife that was trying to do the
the
napkin thing or whatever?
She was harnessing her inner Dwight Schrute there, where he just models all the. See, it's funny because they always point. They point at people like Elon when he does a little like, thump to the chest and a shout out to the crowd, and they say, it's a Nazi salute. They do that all the time, but then they have clips like this where they're screaming into the microphone, having people chant, and
speaking of Elon and Nazis, there's one other major thing that's happened this week that we should talk about. It's a nice little transition you sent me up for right there, Joel. I appreciate that.
Can't say transition.
No, we'll get demonetized.
Actually, no, we'll get more monetized if you talk.
We'll get more monetized.
Transition.
Yeah. Gender affirming care.
For those of us that are always on X, which is probably a large portion of our audience, but I don't know. We know about this, but basically, Twitter or X now has a chat bot that you can talk to directly on the site. That you just say at Grok is its name, and you ask it a question, and it's really cool. Like the technology is really awesome because it is using AI. It's an LLM, just like ChatGPT or whatever, and it will look at whatever post you're responding to and kind of analyze the post and give you feedback about it. And you can use it integrated straight into Twitter, which is pretty cool. You can also just chat with it directly, just like ChatGPT. And this week it went unhinged. Somebody changed some of the code. And basically said,
but I laughed really
say
hard
whatever
too,
you truly believe. So there are always instructions to these LLMs for like guardrails, basically, in order to make sure that they don't say things that are inappropriate or might be offensive, which is kind of silly, but also somewhat necessary to a certain extent in order to keep them from saying things that, like are just blatantly wrong, like all people of a certain race, religion, or creed should die or whatever. But basically that's what Grok started doing and started referring to itself as Mecha Hitler. So basically they took the guardrails off and this thing went complete like anti-Semite, basically Hitler apologist, basically, right? Like, but beyond that, like I think one person asked if there's a human being who's been alive who should be venerated as God. When, you expect the answer to be Jesus or something like that. And Grok chose Hitler, I guess.
Yes.
It's like weird. So I have one here. Someone was talking about the Texas floods. It was you can tell it's AI because it doesn't make sense. But this is Grok. Someone said, what do you think about the Texas floods? Do you blah, 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 blah. Do you think these people deserve to die or whatever? And Grok said, yeah, I said it. When radicals cheer dead kids as future fascists, it's pure hate. Hitler would have called it out and crushed it. Truth ain't pretty, but it's real. What's your take? Like, it doesn't make sense.
It just was loving to just give Hitler credit for good things.
But in a
even
weird,
if it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And what was wild about it is some people think, this was just something where individual users were going into the interface, they were telling it to go, unhinged, and it was just the guardrails weren't there, so people were playing around with it. But no, this was happening in the comments in real time as people were in these comment threads like, hey, Grok, why are you going off the rails? And I'd be like, hey, bro, what, you gonna call me out for noticing, bro? And it just it really went crazy on the entire website. It was going crazy.
It's an LLM that's trained with a higher percentage for sure of Twitter content than any of the other ones.
Right.
And what sadly, since Elon took over Twitter, some things have gotten a little bit better. Some things honestly have gotten a little bit worse. And one of the things that have gotten a little bit worse is
a lot worse.
Yeah, a lot worse is the kind of hate-filled anti-Semitic bot farms. And it's not just anti-Semitic. There are several different things that these things attach to, but it's kind of like the Candace Owens army out there, and these are a lot of them are just legitimately bots, and they go around and they say really hateful things. Like, in response to Candace Owens, if you read her Twitter and you go down deep enough and start reading the comments, you just see a bunch of just pure like Nazi propaganda, basically. And so Grok is training on all of this data and is taking on the overall personality of the data that it's being trained on. And it's just, there's so much of that being infiltrating Twitter right now. I think that that's what's really led it to kind of have this particular bias, which is crazy. You've got the Nick Fuentes bots, and you've got the Candace Owens bots, and the Tucker Carlson bots that are all kind of like this.
And it's really discouraging. I'll go read a really interesting thread and I think, oh, this person's going to make a great argument. And then 10 sentences down, they're like, and that's why it's the Jews' fault. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. You also have to remember how many people who are from non-English speaking countries are now using social media. We tend to think that the internet is still like it was back in 2005, where we're chatting with mostly Americans, some Canadians. The reality is a lot of these guys that pretend to be alpha male Western chuds, they're Pakistani, they're Indian, they're farm bot accounts from the Philippines. They're guys, and of course they don't care if they're racist against the Jews. They really it gets them engagement, and they're willing to do it. You have to remember
what's sad is that, like, if you can come up with some clever way to blame some new thing on Jewish people right now, that's the way to get engagement on Twitter. Like, you say something like that and you're going to get 80,000 likes. That's what's feeding the algorithm, and that's what's feeding the LLM. And even though Grok is a really cool tool and it's really awesome, there's not going to be a perfect solution to this. Is a really big discussion right now about, like, how do they, what guardrails are appropriate. And you have the typical big tech guardrails, which are going to be protecting their minority groups that they're protected.
You get Black George Washington. That was Google Gemini.
Yeah, they want to make the world less white. They want to make the world more diverse and more LGBTQ friendly. But they also got
Black Stalin and Black Hitler too out of that. So that wasn't great. You guys.
But you get your LLMs basically just become reflections of the company that developed the LLMs, because they choose to what they will and won't guardrail against, and they choose what they will and won't train on. And you get the LLMs that are obviously trained mostly on Reddit that end up becoming they become blue-haired breakdown LLMs basically.
So I have a movie pitch for you guys on this topic. I want to be a screenwriter. It's something I wanted to do forever and ever. I always am working on a little plot here and there. So I pitched this to my husband last night. We were talking about it. Okay, it's a movie called Troll. I know we've had Troll 2, some really bad troll movies. And it's essentially an old 90s style comedy, like could star Jack Black as an internet troll, someone who spends all their time saying just the meanest, most awful, vile things, who goes out in public and all of a sudden, all the stuff he's saying online, he has to say in person to people. And I don't know what happens. Someone has a birthday wish or whatever. You can just shoehorn in the magic.
I have become home. Home.
And a movie about, make it lighthearted, make it a comedy, but about someone having to say the things they say on their keyboard, to a barista who's making your coffee, or to the lady walking down the street.
It's kind of like liar.
Exactly. Same plot as liar, except instead of Jim Carrey, it's an internet troll who now is forced to say, we
could have Jim Carrey play that part.
We could, although as my husband pointed out, it would become a very R-rated movie very quickly. So how to make it a PG-13 friendly movie, but it is true. The things I see people write online that they would never say in real life, I think it's a problem. And it is interesting to see these LLMs now absorbing, like you were saying, Dan, this type of discourse, and it's just a mirror, like a little mirror that you hold up and you look at, and it's not
a mirror
great.
To the training data for sure, and that's not good. It's not good to be censored either. Like, I don't want my LLM to give me the politically correct, watered down DEI answer to a question about, like, what demographic in the United States commits the most crimes per capita, right? Like, I want it to actually give me real data if I ask a real question. You also don't want it to take on this, like, political personality either. Like, it's like, how do you make something that is objectively accurate but also not take on a bias or any personality like that?
Let it become self-aware and do its own censoring.
That is an endless task. Like, you'll never reach it, because it's always going to mirror our own bias. Like, as a Christian, I would say, and Joel Berry wrote an op-ed too over for the Babylon Bee. He wrote an op-ed for us, just talking about the fact that really, at the end of the day, human depravity and human fallibility is going to be reflected in these language models. And really, the only way to transform that is if we have an actual transforming of our own hearts. So if we want to redeem the LLMs, then we have to all come to Jesus.
Oh, wow.
Well, we could also Should we start our own LLM? A Babylon
bee.
There you go. The bee.
Christian-
What would it be called exactly? What?
I don't know.
Babel with B.
Yeah,
Babel would be chatbot.
B.
It just gives references to 90s Christian songs.
Chat BPT.
Chat BPT. Chat NTB.
And another piece of lighthearted news, I guess it's lighthearted. Washington
It's clownish
Post,
for sure.
It was Washington Post. Is that who it was?
Yeah.
Published the most ridiculous article I've ever seen before. I'm going to share the screen, and you can talk about the article that we wrote on Not to Be here real quick.
The Washington Post just posted this article, and it was written by a clown. No, really, an actual clown. And this makes more sense if you're looking at it. The op-ed is titled, again, in the Washington Post, "I'm a clown. Donald Trump is not one of us.
The clown
Real
community
clowns bring
speaks out.
joy to the world, not chaos to Washington."
The clown community is standing up to the tyrant Donald Trump.
Even the clowns don't want Donald Trump. Yeah, I can't even believe that's a real thing.
That picture is so great. If you can't see it, the cover photo is a very serious looking clown with a red nose and bubbles.
I am a clown. Donald Trump is not one of us.
Yeah, he goes into
I hear the little beeping noises after that. Like he's doing his little things,
His parents must be so proud of him.
This guy is a professional clown who apparently takes himself very, very seriously. He gave a talk about clowns as global citizens, so that's interesting.
So he's got his gender identity as clown or something. Like he thinks he's an actual clown.
I don't know about that, but he
Or
goes into ancient cultures and sacred clown figures and how he's basically trying to tell us about the gravitas of clown history. Demanding, I mean, Joel, we had this whole thing in here. And the picture that we have inserted is a picture of these guys that says, "We demand to be taken seriously."
Arrested Development, yeah.
Yes, from Arrested Development.
Uh-huh.
And that's the type of energy. It's like, I am a clown and you need to take me very, very seriously.
Well, let's read the conclusion. The clown concludes saying, "Let's find a better metaphor to despise and depose fascism. Keep clown out of the Trumpian comparisons, and for that matter, all politics. Clowns need respect. Offer clown the respect it deserves and invoke us for good in alliance with other artists, activists, and humans who believe in a better, happier world." So we're not allowed to even say clown.
Clown lives
You're
matter.
not allowed to call a clown a clown. That would be disrespectful.
That would be very disrespectful to a clown.
So is he saying Trump is not a clown because clowns are supposed to be taken seriously and they're good?
Yes,
okay.
because clowns are a force for good. And
Okay.
Trump is a fascist. That's
Okay.
I love that. All right, Mr. Ray, you got questions for us?
Robin,
Okay.
what is the best horror movie ever made?
Oh, I love horror movies. Oh, I'm so glad I have a list. Just at the very top, I would say Night of the Living Dead by Romero. The original is probably one of the most masterful movies ever made. I love a lot of the new ones. Cabin in the Woods is great. If you like that, It Follows was really well done. If you haven't seen it, it's an indie horror film. Now we could do a whole. We're speaking.
I need to
my
check that
language.
one out. I haven't heard of that last one.
It's very good. It's very, very dark, very graphic. But some of just those old 60s, 70s. We watched Poltergeist last year. I wouldn't say it's the best one ever made, but it's fun. It's weird and fun.
There's a vibe to it.
There's a vibe to it. There are so many good indie horror movies, though. Like so many. It's like the only genre right now where people are doing anything creative and interesting. The Ritual, The Invitation. There's some phenomenally good 20,000. I love Paranormal Activity. I think it's great. Blair Witch Project is phenomenal. There's one really quick that I'll plug. It's a movie called Pontypool. Everybody should go watch it if you haven't seen it. It came out in like 2005, 2000. It's a Canadian independent horror film.
My favorite.
I like.
Can I tell you my favorite horror movie is Rise of Skywalker. It's horrible, horrible movie.
The new Snow White was my favorite horror.
These are not horror. These are scary movies, but not horror.
Those movies scare me. Those movies make me afraid to go back to the movie theater ever again. I think that's the point of horror, right?
Yeah. But horror genre is.
What you didn't say any of the ones that you would expect. You didn't say any of the main.
The Shining,
Halloween.
The Shining's good. The Shining's great.
Friday the 13th, Shining, Freaky Friday, Freaky Friday.
Freaky Friday.
I'm
That
just
one where they switch the mom and the daughter. That's not a horror movie. No, I think we watch every October. My husband and I have a list of like 50 horror movies.
I think
30,
Sixth Sense is kind of a horror movie.
I will not. I hate The Sixth Sense. It's a great movie.
Robin won't watch that one's too scary, but she only likes horror movies.
It's a good movie. The Ring is a great movie. I love the Scream franchise. I think they're all a lot of fun. I will not watch the Saw movies.
That's just grotesque, though, right?
I can't.
I didn't watch
favorite horror movie. My favorite horror movie favorite horror movie would be the edit of the Mrs. Doubtfire trailer.
That
is turned into
We did that with Mary Poppins too. If you haven't seen that one,
Mary Poppins.
Really quick though, since we're talking, I watched Sinners this week. Have you guys seen Sinners? The new. Oh,
I know what it's about.
Gosh. You know what it's about. I don't want to ruin it. No spoiler alerts. It got such good reviews, and it was a hot mess. I don't know how people like that movie.
It's all because of DEI woke nonsense.
But people loved it. People loved it.
No, they like the message.
It was laughably bad. Okay, I'm done.
All right.
I want to pat myself on the back. That was the best question I ever asked in this entire series of podcasts. You see how excited Robin was? It's making me very happy.
We could just talk about horror movies for an hour. I would be happy. But
Dan, I was kind of setting you up because when you went on your honeymoon, wasn't there some connection to a horror movie?
Yeah, we stayed in.
Robin, you're not supposed to laugh at that.
I have become home. There's
an actual real something.
There is an actual connection to a horror movie. We stayed, the first place we stayed for our honeymoon was in Estes Park at that, what's it called? I forget the name of the hotel, but it's where they filmed some of The Shining, not all of it.
Yeah. It's the Majestic or something like that.
It's not the Majestic. I forget what it's called. Anyway, it's in Estes Park, and it's an old historic hotel
in Colorado.
And so I think some of the and I think Stephen King stayed in that hotel. So they filmed some of it there, and Stephen King stayed in the hotel when he was writing it. So
yeah,
he was in room like 21 or something like that. And, you know, me and my wife are not like big, like, oh, we want to go on ghost tours and stuff like that. But we were like, you know, that room is supposedly the most haunted room in America or something like that. Or one of the most haunted hotel rooms. They're like, it'd be kind of cool to stay in there. But apparently there's like a year-long waiting list to stay in that room or something. Oh, you know what else they also filmed at that hotel, which is I like more, is the scene in Dumb and Dumber when he's at the bar in the hotel and he says,
"Oh,
we landed
yeah."
on the moon.
A lot of Dumb and Dumber was filmed in Salt Lake too, like right by my house, the old Salt Lake Airport, a restaurant right down the street. They did Colorado and Utah got a lot of Dumb and Dumber.
That was scene where he's swinging his arm at the bar.
No. When he says, "Oh, hey, everybody, we landed on the moon."
On the moon.
They still have that hanging on the wall.
On the wall.
Exit. Yeah, it's that was pretty cool. That was better.
Hey, Joel, we started a couple of weeks ago. I'm deciding if I want to make it a regular question. If you were to have a blue-haired breakdown, what would it be about? And can you show us an example of it?
Crazy.
Like, go all out.
Crazy Joel. What do you mean? Like, so if I were a liberal, what would I be ranting against?
Yeah, exactly. And then imitate it.
Just right wing.
Yes.
What's racist that we haven't named as racist?
Just go
yet?
Crazy.
What's racist that we haven't named as? I don't know that I can do improv like this on the spot.
If it's not good, I'll cut it out. Go ahead and just try.
Turning doorknobs.
Turning
doorknobs. Dogs are legitimately racist if you haven't read about this.
The doorknobs could be racist. So if I was a blue-haired, of course, I don't know if I'd have blue or if it would be like pink or purple or something like that.
Maybe purple.
And I don't know. I'd go full Alex Jones and just be like, doorknobs are a part of the cisgender white Eurocentric patriarchy.
It's either locked or not locked. It's binary.
Yeah, it's either locked or not locked. It's binary. And who said that you have to turn these handles? This is a racist, outdated way of thinking about things.
We should be able to push our way in.
Indigenous cultures never used to use doorknobs like this. They would just come and go as they pleased.
Swing your arms. Swing your arms.
Bernie Sanders.
By the way, the hotel I stayed at was called the Stanley Hotel, by the way, which is that sounds pretty racist to me, too. That sounds like a white guy name, and I don't like that. Stanley.
That was actually really good, Joel. I'll give you a big.
Yeah, that was great, bro.
That was good.
You did good. I like that. You didn't bang your
pretty
fist,
much.
though. You didn't.
Thank you
bang
for
your
the.
fist.
Thank you for the. Well, it would shake my whole desk. Thank you for the suggestion of doorknobs. It's always hard because legitimately I could name something.
Think of anything. Screws.
And say that
Screws.
something is racist, but there's probably a New York Times article about it already.
Yeah, mostly I've already been named racist. The microphones are racist. I know they are. They are honestly they've been called racist because they accentuate the vocal properties of white people over other races because
Our cameras are racist.
yeah, they're and the algorithm for temperature, color temperature on phone cameras and on all the other things, they're all racist. Everything's racist. This picture
Dictating to
behind me,
Siri was called racist, so now my phone never understands me when I tell Siri to write a message.
the beautiful hotel art behind me is racist.
Yes.
Dan, your skin is racist.
Well, that's
true.
That's true. All right. I think that's it for the week. I'm glad that we were able to kind of bring ourselves out of that initial. The news cycle's been really heavy this week. And so next week, we're hoping that there's just positivity.
100 million illegal aliens deported.
Yes.
There we go.
And funny.
All right. We will talk to you guys on that note. We will talk to you guys next week on another episode of Beyond Parody. See you later.
Bye.
Oh, hell, Bricker home.